Hello, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Six with Ian and Thomas.
Welcome back, everybody.
We're back.
I know you missed us.
And Premier League's back.
Yes.
We have a lot to talk about today.
It's going to be a very action-packed 30 minutes, so buckle up.
Very information-packed. The reason, the whole point that we're going to go over this episode is basically what happened over the transfer window and what we think is going to happen this season. We're literally going to go down last year's table, starting with City, go to Brighton, and then go over the three newly promoted teams. Go over their transfer market, how successful we think it was, and then how we think they're going to deal with this season.
Wait while I fix my mohawk. It's crooked.
I gave you time to do that already.
I didn't use it wisely.
I'm very excited for this season. I think this is going to be a very, very, very good season.
I don't know.
We've got Aston Villa and Norwich City back in the Premier League, two founding members of the Premier League back again, and we have Sheffield United in the Premier League for the first time.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about that. I mean, it's again, we've talked about this a million times, that I like the promotion relegation system because you get to see new blood.
Yeah, I mean,
new players, new tactics.
We've been watching the Premier League for, a long time. We've both seen Aston Villa play. We've seen Norwich City play. I've never seen Sheffield United play. Unfortunately, we don't get coverage of championship here in the U.S., which, I'm sure if we really, really, really wanted to, we could, but it's probably really pricey. And
anyway.
Yeah. But, being able to see this new team is, and I know they did quite a bit of business with the money they have over this transfer window, so I'm very excited to get this started. All right,
fun.
So, starting with City, they brought in a lot. Their squad is looking more dangerous than ever.
They are going to be an absolute juggernaut.
They brought in Rodri from Atletico, João Cancelo from Juventus, Angelino from PSV Eindhoven. Technically, they have Zach Steffen, but they sent him out on loan. And they got a bunch of players, young players, back out on loan. And if there's anything that's dangerous with Pep Guardiola, it's the youth.
Yeah.
He has everybody on the tip of his finger, and wherever he goes, they go. He's
a genius, man. He is.
Yep.
By far, I think he's probably the best manager in football right now. I mean, he's just the way he does business, the way he brings players in and uses them, and just the fact that, his tactics and the way he can manage these players and get every single one of them to buy in 100% to what he's doing. He tells them to do it, and they go do it,
yep.
And it works, and that's why it works, because they're bought into it, and they do it. And with the new blood that he's brought in,
he's got, like I said,
they're dangerous.
Yeah, João Cancelo and Rodri are going to be. They already have a pretty strong team. Bringing in players like that are just going to be devastating.
Yeah.
They did lose Danilo to Juventus. That was a swap for João Cancelo that happened on I think it was the day before deadline day, if I remember
before.
And then they lost Douglas Luiz back to Aston Villa. They lost Fabian Delph to Everton, and Vincent Kompany is now the player manager of Anderlecht. So no more Vincent Kompany for Man City, which it's almost an end of an era.
Yeah.
I mean,
for the longest time, he was a really big talisman for that team.
Yeah.
He was one of the players that, when he was injured, they did not do well.
No.
And I think that's a significant loss for them. I don't think it's going to change anything as far as their strength, but I think just the leadership and just the ability to be a strong captain. I think that's going to change some mindsets, but I don't think it's going to affect City's chances of absolutely destroying all opponents in the next 38 games.
No. So, recap. They spent $190.4 million on players, and they only brought in $78.7 million. So they lost $112 million over the transfer window. That oil money, baby.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think they made smart moves. Pep Guardiola, I mean, as you said, is a genius. He knows what he needs. He got what he needed.
Yeah.
He was very, very, very smart with that. That being said,
it doesn't hurt that he's got huge financial backing and he can go do that.
I mean, for sure.
He can go into the transfer and start buying top shelf players, without even worrying about it. But I mean, he knows what he wants. He goes and gets it, and he puts it to work.
See no problem with that.
No, I don't either.
Now, how do you think they're going to do this season?
They're going to win.
Really?
Yeah.
You think they're going to win? They're 3 times in a row?
I think so.
All right. It's a bold statement early on. I don't want to make a prediction yet. I really don't want to make a solid prediction. I think it's going to be between Liverpool and City again. I think Chelsea are going to push. I think they'll be close again. But I think it's going to be between the 2 front runners from last season. We'll have to wait and see as the season progresses. I mean, obviously, we haven't even seen City yet this season, so. But I think it's a very good possibility that City could win.
Yeah, and that's why I'm making that prediction. I mean, I think just the odds, are forever in their favor.
I will kill you.
Sorry. But I mean, just looking at the squad that they have, and the depth that they have, the youth, the ability, the skill, and the genius management, I think it's going to be really hard to top City.
Now, they did lose Leroy Sané to an ACL injury. He'll be out for 7 months.
7 months.
That being said, if you remember last season, they lost Kevin De Bruyne, and they didn't miss a step.
No, and I thought that was going to be a big hit for them, because he's kind of on the level of the Vincent Kompany kind of level, just the experience, the skill, the leadership. And with him being gone, it really didn't hurt them at all. Nope. And again, that speaks to Pep Guardiola's management skills, because he had the depth to put somebody else in the midfield and continue to run the attack the way Manchester City does.
Yeah. So, moving on. Obviously, Liverpool was in second place last season.
Are Liverpool. La, la, la.
We have seen them this season. They had the opening game against Norwich City. Very easy win, 4-1 over them. Very good first half. Norwich came out in the second half. I'm going to be watching Norwich a bit. Their coach knows what they're doing. He has the talent. He has the knowledge. They win in at halftime. And we're like, all right, we got to change something.
Yeah, they did something in the locker room that changed, because they came out and they scored a brilliant goal.
Pukki.
Yeah, Pukki. Pukki. Brilliant first touch, and then just to wrap his whole body around the ball to push it far post and out of Adrian's reach was insane.
But looking at their transfers, they didn't do anything.
And that kind of distresses me a little bit, because they have good depth. They've got a brilliant squad too, and they have good depth. The problem is that every one of those players had injury issues last season. And I wish that in the transfer window they would have strengthened just a little bit in case those things happen again. These guys have been playing a lot of football. A lot of football. They in the off season for the Premier League, they really didn't get much of a break. They had Champions League to finish up, the Africa Cup of Nations.
Yeah, Sadio Mane just came back.
Sadio just got back Monday.
Yep. He did come on as a substitute later in the game today, but
so these guys really didn't get a summer off. With the preseason wasn't really that long, and they didn't have most of the heavy hitters playing with the preseason. Again, because Sadio Mane was the Africa Cup of Nations. Mohamed Salah, I think, was there as well. He had some other stuff going on with the national team in Egypt.
Yeah, that was African Cup of Nations as well.
But a lot of these guys did not get a summer off, so they're how much is that going to affect what they can do for the rest of the season? That's a lot of football, man. And these guys are human. As good as they are, they're human.
I might not want to think it, but I mean, although I'm pretty sure a couple of them aren't. I do want to test it myself, but I can't. But I mean, in terms of transfers, they brought in Vandenberg from PEC Zwolle for $2 million, and then Adrian on a free transfer, and the rest of them were loans. I mean, they literally spent $2 million this summer, which is nothing compared to what other teams spent. They did bring in $39 million worth of transfers. They sold Danny Ings. They sold Simon Mignolet. And then everybody else that they sent out, the bunch of young guys back on loan again. They did lose Daniel Sturridge and Adam Bogdan, who are apparently currently, according to this website, free agents. I thought Daniel Sturridge picked somebody up, though.
He did get transferred.
Oh, I don't remember where he went.
I don't remember either. See, I'm going to respond here. Our friend Seamus O'Malachlin, it's a pseudonym, and I don't know how to say it. But he's also a fellow Liverpool supporter. And he's got a couple of things here. And he kind of agreeing with the fact that Liverpool maybe should have strengthened a little bit. How much is it going to affect them? I think they're still a tough squad, and they're coming off of the Champions League win.
Do you think that this season is? I mean, if they're going to do it, it's going to be this season. Because I think
it has to be.
If there's anybody who can stop City, it's Liverpool,
and I agree with that.
And I think Liverpool, they have the talent. And I think, they know that they're a good squad, and they kind of have that tick in the back of their head saying, remember, City beat you by 1 point.
Yeah.
Don't let it happen again.
Right. And I think coming off...
we can do this.
Right. Coming off a Champions League win, finishing second by 1 point in the league last season, I think their confidence is where it needs to be, because they know they have the talent and the skill to win. And I think that, the fact that they lost by 1 point is a pretty big motivation. I mean, they were 1 point. Well, I guess 2 points, to win. Well, I don't know. Anyway, but I think that motivation's there.
Yep. Do you think that if they don't come in first, they're in second?
Yes.
Do you think that's...
Yes.
Okay.
And again, it's pretty early. Manchester United has strengthened some stuff. Chelsea brought in Christian Pulisic, which I think is a game changer for the league. Mm-hmm. Arsenal spent a ton of money and strengthened their squad pretty good. I still don't think they're going to run for it. I think they're going to do better than they have in the last couple seasons. But as far as first and second place, I think it's going to be City and Liverpool battling it out again. They were... Between those two, I think third place was 14 points back? Something like that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be very similar this season. I think the motivation is there. They're like, okay, we just missed it last season, but we got Champions League, so now we know we can do it. We beat everybody in Europe. Let's take England.
Yeah.
And I hope so.
Third place last year was Chelsea. Obviously, they are currently on a transfer ban, so they really couldn't bring anybody in. They were able to officially sign Mateo Kovacic, who was on loan last season from Real, so he's officially, permanently a Blue. And then obviously they got Christian Pulisic, they got Bakayoko back from loan, Batshuayi back from loan, which I think are big ads. And then they lost Eden Hazard. They lost David Luiz.
That was surprising.
That did surprise me. He went to Arsenal. I'm not happy with it.
And right after Chelsea changed their superstore front.
Yeah, from Eden Hazard to David Luiz, he transfers. But other than that, Higuain is back at Juventus, which I'm okay with. He didn't have that much of an impact last season.
He did at the end. The last couple of matches, he was. It wasn't a huge impact, but he made his mark. You knew that Higuain was there. But.
Where do you think they're going to end up this season?
Chelsea, I think they're going to battle it out. I think they're definitely going to be top 5. I would go as far, again, before seeing Arsenal and United, I'm going to go and put Chelsea at least in third place.
Yeah.
Seriously. Even with the transfer ban, they really worked it out well, bringing Pulisic in January before the transfer ban went into effect. Mm-hmm. And again, I think Christian Pulisic is going to be a really big part of that team.
He's already filling in important roles for Frank Lampard, so it's...
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing for Chelsea, too, bringing Frank Lampard in as manager. This guy's a legendary blue. Super Frank. Everybody knows Frank Lampard.
He proved himself with Derby County.
Yeah.
So,
and speaking of Derby County, Wayne Rooney has left the MLS and he's now a player manager.
First person to ever get away from the MLS's clutches. That's not true.
It's not true. But having Frank Lampard in charge of Chelsea, Pulisic, and I think they're a strong squad too. They've still got the youth, and they've got a ton of talent.
Especially up top.
Yeah.
They're scary up top.
Losing David Luiz, I think, was a big hit for them in the defense.
But I think... And they lost Gary Cahill, too, on a free transfer to Crystal Palace. They're losing some of their senior defenders, but they have a lot of talent still back there. I think they still have Kurt Zuma back there. Yeah. They still got Andres Christensen. They've got Marcos Alonso in the back. The talent's there. And I think Frank Lampard has the managerial prowess to figure it out and fight for something this season.
Well, and the fact that he's a Chelsea legend, he's going to fight hard, especially as his first season, back in top flight with Chelsea, a team that he played for 403 years. Wasn't quite that long. You can Google it. It's not going to come up 403.
Pretty close.
But it was a lot. I think Chelsea's going to be a powerhouse where they should be. That team is one of the teams people think of when you say English football. Chelsea is I think in the United States, I think Manchester United and Chelsea are probably the two top teams in America, that people think of. Us Liverpool fans, just because we're the best, everybody hates us, and that's okay. We're all right with that.
Really? Where's that Premier League trophy?
Where's that Champions League trophy?
All right. We'll see.
Conquered all of Europe.
We'll see. Anyways, moving on to Tottenham. Tottenham did very, very little, but somehow spent a lot of money. They got Ndombele from Lyon and Ryan Sessegnon from Fulham and Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis on deadline day. Those are some big names, but they got Cameron Carter-Vickers. They sent him back out. Yeah, they sent him back out on loan. Tottenham was Tottenham this transfer window. They did very little. And I don't know why.
I don't know either.
Because they should have done a lot more.
Yeah, and as much as they struggled last season, I would think that would have been the first thing in their mind. Good. Transfer window's coming. Let's drop some dough. Let's bring in some dudes. And they just didn't do it. So it's almost like they're okay floundering for a top 5 position.
They were very close. There was rumors that Paulo Dybala was going to sign. There was rumors that Felipe Coutinho was going to go out on loan to Tottenham and Arsenal. But
he rejected all of those.
Yeah, it blows my mind that Tottenham keeps striving for, we want to win the Premier League. And they're constantly getting 4th, 5th place. Yeah. And they don't spend any money to try and fix it. I don't know where the mindset is there.
It's a very similar mindset to what Arsenal had right at the end of Arsene Wenger's reign. We're going to win. We're not going to change anything, but we're going to win. And I think that's where Tottenham is
very stubborn.
And the thing is Pochettino is a good manager. He's got good players, but he needs to build that squad. He needs to build on that. You cannot rely on Harry Kane. And I think Hyun-Son Min needs to replace Harry Kane. That's just me. I think he's a much better striker.
So, unfortunately, because of that, I think Tottenham's going to, flounder in 4th, 5th place again. I just because they don't have anything. Looking at the time, we need to get through these a lot faster than we are.
Well, we're not going to be able to get through all of them.
Arsenal did a lot. When the transfer window first opened, the Arsenal owners told Unai Emery, "All right, you have $45 million to make transfers."
Which is not a lot of money for a team like Arsenal.
The very first transfer that they made was Nicolas Pepe from Lille. He was 91 million, so a little bit over the 45. We won't talk about it. They ended up spending 173 million.
So they went over budget by like a ton.
But they made big moves.
They did make big moves, and I think that's going to be very significant.
Arsenal's top three are looking dangerous. Aubameyang and Lacazette were a great duo last year, and now with Nicolas Pepe up top because they sold Alex Iwobi to Everton, which I think was a good move, bringing in Nicolas Pepe. They have that top three now. They needed defenders. They had lost Koscielny to Bordeaux, obviously their club captain, but they brought in Ceballos and David Luiz. So those are two names two big defenders that I think are going to help Arsenal a lot this season because that was their big problem. They were scoring the goals, but they weren't stopping them. And I think Arsenal have a little bit more this season. I think currently the way that we've been going, I think top two is going to be Liverpool and City. I don't know which one. I think Chelsea has third. I think Arsenal's in fourth this year.
I'll agree.
I think Arsenal, and they could very easily push Chelsea for third.
Yeah, I think this season is going to be classic Premier League. It's going to be the powerhouse teams.
Who's going to be the top four? Who's going to win?
Right.
You don't know until the last day. Obviously, last season we didn't know who's going to win to the last day, but it was between two teams. I think it's going to be a lot closer this year. I think the teams realize, all right, those two ran away with it. We can't let that happen again.
I don't think it's going to be a 14-point difference between second and third place this season. It's going to be really tight. It's going to be an exciting season. We need to talk about Manchester United. And kind of round out the show for the day.
So basically that'll be the top six. Manchester United did nothing.
Except dump off Romelu Lukaku.
Well, actually, they dumped off Romelu Lukaku.
And they literally dumped him. They didn't even invite him to training.
Yeah, but he somehow was worth $74 million. Antonio Conte, I still like you. You won us a Premier League trophy. But what are you thinking, dude? He's not that good. He's way overweight, and he hasn't scored a goal in like 4 years. So I don't know. I don't know how he's worth $74 million. They did make Harry Maguire the most expensive defender in history for $99 million. They brought in Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well, very early in the transfer window for $63 million.
And apparently Eriksen is going to United in January.
There was rumors that Christian Eriksen was going to be leaving Tottenham. The early rumors were he was going to Real, but that fell through, and there was almost no talk about it during the entire transfer window. Apparently, he wants to leave. At this point, it's a matter of where he's going.
Yeah, Seamus just commented that Eriksen was going to United in January, and I asked, is that a done deal? I hadn't heard anything about that.
I hadn't either.
And he also mentioned that possibly Dybala from Juventus to Spurs in January.
I heard that fell through. I heard Dybala was not happy with the amount that they were offering.
Well, he's got a while before the January transfer window at this point.
I think he wants to stay at Juventus. Honestly, that's where he made his name, and they're finally kind of building the team up even more. You've got Ronaldo there. That's an excellent partnership that you could make.
Yeah.
You just got to make it work. So, that rounds out the top six from last year. I think as we move forward, we'll talk about a little bit more. We do have a lot of games this week. I think the games that I'm really looking forward to are going to be Bournemouth and Sheffield United.
I'm really looking
tomorrow.
forward to seeing Sheffield play.
And then I'm also looking forward to United Chelsea.
Yeah. That's going to be a really good game. That's going to be a good head-to-head clash.
Ooh, Leicester City, Wolverhampton too.
And I'm interested to see how Wolves do again this season.
They're killing it in their Europa League qualifications right now. They've been winning games, so maybe we'll see them in European competition, which would be very exciting.
Yeah,
So.
I think they're a fun team to watch, and I'm really interested to see how Sheffield handles being in top flight for the first time. And I think that's going to be a good opening match for them too against Bournemouth. Not
kind of testing the waters against a team they're not a bad team to play against.
Yeah,
but
I think it's going to be a very exciting season. Stay tuned. We will bring you details. I think maybe this isn't a done deal yet, but I think maybe we're going to start doing the show on Mondays instead of Tuesdays, so things are a little bit more fresh.
Depending on my schedule.
Yeah, and we'll work that out. But we want you guys to stay tuned. Make sure you share the video, subscribe so you get the notifications, hit the bell. Go to the t-shirt shop, buy a t-shirt. We're going to start working on a new logo because I've got a new sweet hairdo.
Oh, yeah.
And
we could do that. I'm gonna do that.
There you go.
It's gonna be awesome.
Shout out big time to our really good friend Macrophonic MC. He lets us use the music.
Sorry, I don't think you heard it. I still have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. So anyway, but check out Macrophonic MC. He's a really talented artist, and his son DJ Vox is about to start producing some music too. So we might actually get
like
some
10.
of that. He's like 10.
I don't know how old he is, but he's the coolest kid in the world.
Ridiculously talented. So keep an eye out for that. And check out their family show too. It's called Fun23. They've got a really cool YouTube channel where they do a lot of fun family-oriented stuff. They're a really cool family. Check them out. I think that's it. Thanks to Thomas for the production and all that stuff. Thanks for Seamus chiming in and helping along the conversation. We really appreciate that. And hopefully we'll see you soon with the Liverpool Supporters Club here locally. And that's Inside the Six with Ian and Thomas.
Thanks, guys.